Hi, Blake.
Hey, how's it going?
Really good.
Nice.
So I was just doing a little bit of an intro. We'll wait a couple minutes to get started here, let people join in.
Sure.
But I feel like I see you every day virtually.
I know, for real.
So it's
good to see
you
faces again. Yeah, rocking amazing glasses as always, I see.
I mean, working from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for taking a break from our kind of chaotic COVID schedule.
I know.
To sit down and chat for a little bit. For the crazy year that it's been, I feel like you've been able to maintain like an incredible creative process. You've like kept everything going. You've started new projects. You've started this whole world of selling things in crypto and so much cool stuff that I kind of want to, hear you take the lead and maybe ask you a couple questions. And then at the end of this, we'll open up a dialogue for anyone that wants to chime in about 20-30 minutes to ask Blake any questions. So Blake is obviously one of our artists here at H Plus Creative. She's based in Los Angeles. We're both out here in LA. Hi, Chad. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for joining. So one of the coolest things that I've, seen you and Jason Ebeyer and Fuckrender and Smecca and all these amazing artists doing is participating in sites like Super Rare and Nifty Gateway, which is really opening up, the personal work that you make to be sold and accessible as digital art and available with cryptocurrency. And I kind of just wanted to hear your process and kind of your thoughts behind that, because essentially it's, digital art as an art form obviously takes you a bunch of time and, and it should be kind of out there in the world of accessible art for a collector to own. And I want to hear kind of, how that started, what your first piece was, kind of how you feel about the world of crypto. Are you collecting art and crypto? How's that been?
Yeah, it's been really interesting and wild because I feel like I got in like not even 7 days before it like avalanched on social. Like I was not an early adopter. I was just right before the avalanche. And so I was like seeing all the hype because, there was people like Alessio and Esteban and Kidmograph and all of those folks that were like really killing it and just speaking really positively of it. And of course, they're more veterans in the industry than me. Like they've definitely done 3D longer than I have. So it was cool to be like, okay, like testimonies from these types of folks is legit. So let's try it. So I tried it. And it was pretty good. It's wild how there can finally be kind of like a gallery placement in like a value place in a more fine art standard for crypto art, because digital art, as you know too, with Art Basel, galleries, all that stuff is like so often snubbed in these like kind of higher tables of the fine art world. Yeah. So that's like my most exciting thing. And I mean, money's dope too. I'm a big fan of money, but
it's kind of, it's adding value to all the hard work that you do, and it's letting super fans and collectors have something that even though it's not as tangible, I think they're finding ways to have tokens and videos and all kinds of ways so that you could actually display it. So somebody just asked, there's the Super Rare site, there's Nifty Gateway. I know that those are two big ones that you're working with as, the crypto collector platforms. And so how many releases have you done? Do you plan to do more? Is it something that you're kind of developing as your digital art, exhibition career?
Yeah. So I have my first drop with Nifty Gates actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. So
Okay, get ready.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But it was fun because a lot of the time that I was able to like take a break from client work and to put into this drop was only because of the tokenized income I created off Super Rare, which I mostly did old pieces. Like I did a 3-up Vertigo series, and I repurposed the character elements of Seven Sirens to create those. And kind of how you had said earlier with like people that do collect being able to debut it, like one of the collectors of one of my pieces shared with me something they're building in a Decentraland or whatever that's called.
Okay.
And they're actually creating like a 3D gallery. And it's like, that's amazing. Like that's
I love
so
that.
cool. And it was like, I got to see the concept art of the building. And it was like, this is like amazing. And such like, especially in quarantine times, to like think that we can still have these like experiences virtually. And of course, for the long haul.
That's definitely another amazing part of it is the timing, because it's like giving people a sense of waiting for these shows or waiting for these pieces to become available, waiting for the drops, and then, being able to purchase it if they're, part of the crypto game. Absolutely. Are you collecting work? Are you collecting crypto? Are you into Ethereum? What's your kind of pass on all of that?
Yeah, I missed the ride on Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin folks are like cashing in their riches right now.
Rolling right now, I know.
All of you, I'm jealous of. But so I'm doing the Ethereum vibes. I haven't cashed out any of my Ethereum. I'm keeping it in there as a long-term investment. And because of that, I collect on Niftygate because you can just pay in US dollars or whatever your currency is. So I've collected 17 pieces, 15 of which I want to keep. And then 2 I'm like cool with flipping.
So you're collecting in Nifty also?
Yeah. I want to do both collecting and, of course, being an artist as well. I enjoy both sides of it. And so I'm trying to be an early-ish adopter, at least on the collecting side of things.
Totally. I mean, I think, for supporting, fellow artists, for supporting other digital artists, for basing your own collection. I mean, I've seen some really amazing collectors out there, and I'm impressed, from... Yeah,
that Beeple stuff was wild.
Oh my God, and the Beeple drop was incredible. If anyone missed out on Beeple Crap's drop of his dailies, go to his site, and I'm sure you could find a link still. And I think he's still probably doing it because he has so many dailies.
Yeah. But I think he said he wants to release like 0.4%, which over 13 years is still a ton. So it's gonna be a bit.
Work. Yeah. Such a cool dedication to that. I know, it's amazing. So you mentioned the Seven Sirens project that you did as part of one of these drops. So was your Seven Sirens project, I guess maybe walk everyone through that, because it was a personal project, right? And it was basically 7 depictions of female characters, sirens. And then you released it basically to be available as digital work. But what was the kind of background behind that? What was the story? I'm assuming that was just a kind of personal venture that you wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I've been doing this. I started learning 5 years in this past March. So I'm like 5.5 years in now to 3D. And I wouldn't say I started even developing a style till about the 3-year mark. But then, when you start, especially for a lot of digital artists, like, I feel like I went crazy where I was like, am I only creating things to live in a feed? Like, I was just getting really just hung up on, like, just the second you post something, it already has a expiration on it, because it's like,
I know, it feels so short.
Totally. Yeah, and I was like, I really just want to create some more work, so that includes future works, whereas like it just has more substance, like more of a tooth to it. And so I was sketching, I don't remember what movie I was watching, I was just sketching on the couch one night, and it was like somewhat mid-January. I was like, maybe I'll just do like a cool concept series, because I want to get more and more into concept art as well. And I was like, all right, like I'll just do like, and it started with Pride and Lust, and I was like, this would be really fun up to Valentine's Day. And then I was fleshing them out. I was like, this is just living in social again. This is such a waste of what could be a cooler project. So then I started animating it. I spent 3 months on and off because COVID obviously shook some schedules, of being able to work with a musician who I love, Mario. They're super talented. And
Mario.
My partner, TJ, who helped me edit it, because as he always says, like, the best editor is someone who's not emotionally attached to it, because they'll be very like diligent with what is excessive and what's not. And I just kind of created this like trimmed up short that I really love. So
love those. I loved all the characters, loved that project. And I love that you can also make it available for, people to purchase in the digital world.
Yeah. And it's like the full short film is still like my own and not like out there for anyone, but like to be able to do like a little character edition or things like that and people to still be excited is like, that's awesome. And it's validating.
Totally.
It's nice.
Totally. And I know, I mean, you and I, we've had the opportunity to work on some really cool projects this year. And for the last couple of years, I mean, we've been working together and seeing each other occasionally in LA for years now. And I wanted to make a big announcement while we're here. Yesterday, we found out that Blake recently won an award with us for a Smirnoff ice campaign that we did through 72 and Sunny a couple months ago, and we won an award for the best motion animated advertising piece through Le Book. So Le Book Connects is an event that we do globally, and congratulations, Blake, you won that.
You guys too.
So huge accomplishment there. That was I mean, amazing work there. One of many. Are there any? What has made you, super excited this year? What have been the milestones that you look forward to? The reason you get up? Is it projects? Is it personal work? Is it, just hanging out with your cat? Like, what's really getting you excited these days?
I mean, it's always the cat. That's like number one, of course. But outside of that, and I even like.
Can we? I just want to see your cat.
Yeah, let me walk into the other room. Hang on. He's like asleep, so he's gonna be so annoyed at me right now. Where's he at?
I'm so obsessed with him. Oh my God, I'm so obsessed with him.
He's too unconscious to wake up right now. Oh, there we go. Like, what is this? But yeah, outside of course, my main muse for now and always. It's been an interesting year because I feel like everyone, at least in my circle and myself, like went through that big existential crisis with COVID. And it was like, all right.
The beginning was rough.
Yeah, and it's like if 2020 takes me, like, what do I look back on and feel good about? So I reflected pretty hard there. And I feel like with the mix of the projects I've done with you guys or like my personal endeavors or this and that, what's been really cool this year is a lot of them have been really creatively open, which has been really interesting and really a trend I'm very cool with at the moment. And I enjoy still the balance, like I'm not going to ever be like people drop rich, but if somehow, wealth became upon me, it would be a thing where it'd be like, I still want to do that mix of working for others and with others because it challenges me in technical ways. Yeah. And then I still want to be able to have the funds, which I'm finally being able to have, to put into my personal works and not just do something for Instagram, something for a quick Twitter post, and like do things that can have legs and run further.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt, and this, holds true with your work and with everyone's work, that having that personal base, being able to create work for yourself and create work that comes from an authentic place. And now, I mean, making it available and being able to sell it or license it out and being able to have this basis that's really authentic, but then be able to generate a profit from that. I mean, that's like, the best position that you could be in. And then, from there, client work will hopefully roll into the aesthetic that you're pushing or the style that you're pushing. And I also saw just today, actually, the project that we did with Genesis Cars. There was a group of artists that's starting to roll out now. So that's another thing that everyone could look out for. Blake Kathryn and Fuck Render both worked on a really cool new launch campaign for Genesis Cars that is, I think, dropping today. Or maybe rolling out this Friday.
Mine's not for a while. I think they said mine's January 15th. But I think, and Nevin was on it too, right? I think.
Yeah, and Michko was on it. Sorry, Michko. Sometimes there's so much going on. But I mean, I love when all of us can work together on stuff and, hopefully create something that feels like it's, stylistically bound to you and you're, having an open creative to be able to do it. That's just the best. Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about with you was your dip into 360 and games and the Hololista project. Can you talk about that at all? That was this year, wasn't it? It's all kind of blurring together, but.
So through, I don't even know how I met this person, but through this really awesome game developer, TJ Hughes, who's been working on this like food game, which is like sexy food porn game. For like ever. It's like really successful on Kickstarter. I forget the name of it, but you can look up TJ Hughes Kickstarter and find it. But he set me up with these two awesome directors last August, and Star St. Germain and Nadia Love, and they run the studio Aconite, and they were just like, hey, like we just want to make 360 environments. And originally I was like, oh no, that means like a machine, like a program I don't know, like Unreal or Unity. And they were like, we're using Cinema 4D and Redshift. And I was like,
how amazing.
Like, this is amazing. And, so I signed on with them, and they took a leap of faith because I had never done 360s before. And I mean, my dream spaces back then were getting detailed, but there was still a lot of like simplicity to how I was building them. And this was a very big challenge because it was a hidden object game. So that was like we have to hide things and stuff things, and also we have to think of scale and like do all these crazy things that you don't think of until you're looking at like audiences that are giving feedback and like user testing and all that. So it was a 13-month process from start to finish. Originally it was supposed to be like 8 months, but COVID, so everything just doesn't count. And from that project, like working with another artist, Andrew Morgan, who's known as Dream Fiber online, the two of us just really hammered in and went into each other's scenes, like created our own styles. Like the creative brief was already there at the beginning, but we just had such a collaborative weekly check-in kind of like community that we were able to just kind of have this amazing, like intimate collaboration over the course of 13 months. And then that's how I met Marriott, who I've hired to do multiple scores for my other pieces now and all that. And it was really cool. Yeah, the writers were amazing. Strix is fantastic. She's done like another game, like Bluebeard's Wives or something.
Okay.
Which, if you know the folklore, you know that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting for the different perspectives. And then when it was over, I just started basically making a YouTube channel where every once in a while I'll put a 360 on there so I can still keep the practice up. But yeah, it's awesome, and it inspired me to want to learn, and finally am learning Unreal Engine, so I can actually make experiential things.
Amazing. Yeah, I know that, I mean, it's been a difficult year, obviously, but, you know, having the opportunity to kind of further develop skills, or at least have the time to, you know, get into things like 360 or AR for some people, or VR for some people. I mean, I think that it also has kind of been a nice pause to not make us feel so, you know, ingrained in the grind, and to have, you know, a little bit of time to kind of explore, hopefully. You know, I know it's different for everyone, but yeah, so tell me about kind of your day-to-day, you know, have you picked up any favorite new audiobooks? Have you played any fun new games? I think I saw you and TJ were like getting into some gaming stuff over there.
Oh my God, the cyberpunk glitches are insane. I'm not like playing it, but like I'll be like working on my computer and TJ will be like tapping, because he's off for the rest of the year right now. And he'll tap my shoulder and he's like, oh my God, like my character's naked for no reason. It's like, this game is wild.
I love.
It's so wild.
I love.
But yeah, no, we got a PS5, which is dope. Most of the games I'm excited for come out next year, but we did Spider-Verse, which was really cool. I've been playing Genshin Impact, which is like a PC, like definitely like husbando waifu game, which is hilarious. And otherwise, watching a ton of movies. Just went through all the Lord of the Rings 4Ks and that jazz. But yeah, so the typical day is kind of just cooking every meal, which is nice because there's time, because we're stuck in walls. And then in between cooking meals, I try to spend, you know, I wake up pretty early. So from 7 to at least 3 o'clock, I'm really diligent with work, with email, all that jazz. And then from 3 to 6, I'll either do personal projects or I'll do tutorials, vibe, whatever, but still be productive. And then from 6 till, you know, being unconscious, it's just switching between the different entertainment mediums, whether that's a game or a movie. We've been doing some Mondo puzzles. If anyone knows what Mondo is, you know, those are some very sexy art puzzles. So we've been doing a lot of those.
Love it. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Maybe we'll just talk about kind of your work currently and the future of your work, and then we'll open it up to a little bit of Q&A. But I feel like I've noticed you getting more and more into environments, and I mean, you've done a couple, you know, new character modeling projects, but what's something that you want to do, you know, personally and stylistically? Like, what's something that you're really excited about, you know, furthering in your own personal work? Is there, you know, an environment or a, you know, a theme or, you know, a genre that you're always kind of pushing for or want to kind of dip more into?
Yeah, totally. Like environment-wise, the next step for me is to translate a lot to Unreal, because I do want to continue to make things that can eventually be experiential. So it's really important for me to finally like have the technical skill set to make that possible, because I think I already have the rest of the qualifications. So it's that. Cool. With characters, you know, I don't specialize in characters. Like I love doing it, but I have a lot of technical limitations. So I have another short film idea I'm working with my downstairs neighbor, who's actually a writer. And it'll probably be a little longer than Seven Sirens, but not by much. And it's one that's going to really force me to figure out some character animation stuff I don't know how to do. And hopefully I can figure it out, because if not, then just kidding and don't remember I said this. but yeah, so it's still like a lot of hand-holding between technical and conceptual, because you really, with digital art, you can't just have one or the other. They're always going to keep leveling up in their respective ways.
Totally.
So that's kind of it. Yeah.
Love your characters, love your environments. Want to live in all of those dream worlds. I feel like there's always some sort of pool or jacuzzi or, mystical tropical
I'm
place.
from Florida. I gotta have my pool.
That's where that's from. That's from. All right, I'm going to see if we can open up to some questions down below here. Dreams is asking you what programs you use for 360. Do you want to talk about kind of your software programs that you dip into?
Yeah. So I do, and you don't have to use this rendering engine, but I do Cinema 4D and Redshift. And in Redshift, there is a camera where you can do a 360 camera quite literally. But you can also do that tag with any of them, I'm pretty sure. Like Cinema 4D has tutorials on it. But yeah, so right now all of them are created as 2D image wraps. So when I export, it's like a 8K PNG, and then I can Photoshop or After Effects it and just put it to music, and that's it. You can also do that as PNG sequences, but obviously if you're doing an 8K, those render times are painful. But that's it. It's not a 3D export. It's like still a flat image wrap.
Did you start out with Cinema 4D, or did you start out with Blender, or you just dove in?
Yeah. That's why I haven't learned Blender, because I feel like so many folks nowadays always question and like are weirded out that people don't know Blender. And honestly, Blender just wasn't that usable when I started. Like it really wasn't. Like I started in 2015 and the UI was like ZBrush level. It was very difficult.
Yeah, no,
and so Cinema was just really easy. It was similar to Adobe, and that's why I learned it, like nothing else.
I mean, the last 5 years, it's been, it's a world of a difference for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Donut J wants to hear about your sketching process and the importance you put in that part. And I feel like for a lot of 3D artists, it might be easier to just dive in, but I know you actually do some sketching, you do some treatments. So what do you prefer, and kind of what's your mode of operations, your order of operations for doing the work?
Yeah, I prefer sketching, and so much so that even when I concept, I don't know what it is. I hear it's similar with folks that write versus type. I don't know why, but like for me, sketching, like a idea that isn't sketched almost never gets created and comes out good, because I'm just not putting in some extra like translation of medium to keep thinking about how the concept can translate or evolve, or how details can finesse. So I really enjoy it, because I'm not amazing at sketching at all. Like I can hold my weight in painting, but yeah, sketching is like this. Like if you saw my sketches, they're disgusting. But what it does is it allows me to be like, okay, I have this idea and I'll sketch it out. And because it is really loose, then I go into the very rigid form of digital media where you're working with like intense shapes and things like that. But it's like, oh, how do I get this gestural feeling in here? Or maybe now it doesn't work gesturally and I do more of a geometric vibe. So I just enjoy it because there's like a lot of translation processes that go between paper and screen, and I think it provides a more unique final output. But a lot of my sketches are with notes too.
My sketches are always with a lot of words, but I mean, planning does help. I think a lot of people like to kind of just dive in, but I mean, I think you're right. I think it does kind of help for a better end product, and at least give you some of that that basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a question about your PC that you use and how much RAM you have going in there.
The specs question, always. I have a custom built. My partner built it. He's built like 5 or 6 PCs. He's pretty good at it. At the moment, we're doing a big one next year for rebuilding, but it still works fine. I have 3 built-in 1080 Ti's. When I do motion graphics, I link to another computer that has an additional 1080 Ti and 2070 Super. And then I have 128 gigabytes of RAM, i7 6-core. I think that's all that matters.
Yeah,
I think
the heavy
people
stuff,
care about.
the heavy lifting. So your color palette has been, this is another question kind of based on your color palette, and I'll go ahead and say that it's very consistent. You have an amazing,
thank you,
surreal, dreamlike quality that you're able to kind of envelop in all of your works. Is there a specific palette that you go for? Do you have like favorite colors right now? Is it something that's subconscious, or is it just kind of more intentional? What's your color game?
Yeah, actually my favorite color in real life, I don't think I've ever worked in the 3D realm. I'm not good at it. It's mint green, and I don't think I have any mint green pieces. And it's like my favorite ice cream and color, so I don't know why I can't work with it.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I like love mint green. But yeah, it really comes from lighting, and I just enjoy using complementary contrasty colors for lighting. So it's usually a mix of warm and cool. And then when you mix those warm and cool lightings with my favorite textures, which are always shiny and metallic with roughness on them, it just creates a ton of color variation by nature, you know? I mean, put something metal out in the sun and watch the color change throughout the day. It's really interesting. And so it's kind of just accidentally developed out of experimentation because the material came first and my lighting knowledge came second. And now, especially studying more cinematography, sometimes I'll take notes while watching movies and try to write down ideas for how certain lighting things are like set up, or how a set designer painted a certain room or this or that. It's really just studying, trying to build up like a mental library of how different colors work together, and then just, you know, matching it together when it works for a piece.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, you do an amazing job at it. So whatever you're doing, just keep it up. Keep that lighting going.
Oh, thank you. I will.
We had a question about the SM entertainment
piece.
Oh
my God.
that was the K-pop piece?
Yeah. That's the purple room. There are signatures pending, but we are going to come to an agreement. It is with SBS, not SM. SBS did the Inky Gaia stage. I can't speak too much, but they have been extremely hospitable. They've been very amicable, and hopefully we're coming to an agreement soon. And if so, then I'll have to legally put out a statement saying I like them, and we'll go from there.
I mean, that's a great process. I mean, that's a great outcome, I guess.
I was really, because they're all based in Korea, and so my sleep schedule's been all over the park for like 2 weeks now. But it took a long time to get in the right contacts. Like, I've only been in the right contacts for a bit, but the second the right person was reached, it was immediately like, we see it. Like, it is very obvious. Like, we were under the gun. Yeah, they were like, we were just under a big crunch, and we didn't have a time to verify our inspiration. And it's like, you know what, thank you for being honest. Like, I appreciate that. And I'm not out there to go to court. I never want to go to court in my life. Like, I just wanted, you know, my work to be protected.
No, but good for you for standing up and pushing back. And, you know, as creatives, it's important. You know what I mean? It should always be addressed. And, you know, as always, let me know if you need help with anything. But
thank you.
Yeah, what a thing. What a nightmare.
Yeah, at least it could have been way worse if it was like, you know, just shooting it down. So it's like, hell yeah.
No.
They were agreeing
responsive,
and all of that.
Definitely. A couple questions just about your history, what you did in college, when you moved to LA. Kind of how you started out. I born and raised Florida, 23 years, minus like 2 years as a baby in like Atlanta. And then went to college at the University of Florida for graphic design. The way their program works is there's 18 kids got accepted a year. So it's really cool.
Very much intimate, and you had your own studio space when you did get accepted. My first year actually got denied for what cracks me up nowadays because I didn't have a consistent style. So that was really funny. But then I did a year of painting in between. Yeah, I just double minored to make up for the credits, and then luckily got in the following year, thankfully. And then went to New York for about 2.5 years, worked as a junior art director for Macy's, then was a freelance 2D illustrator for a handful of tech companies, Animoto, Microsoft, Upwork, etc. Just worked with a bunch of people that wanted vector illustrations. And then like 3 months into me learning 3D, moved to LA. So I've been here for 5 years now. And I remember when you very first moved here, because that's when we very first met. I think you had just come from New York. And that actually explains a lot about your composition and, you know, the strength behind the placement of your work, that you have a background in kind of, you know, conceptualizing all of this and design and illustration. And I would love to see those paintings at some point. I'm sure I don't know, are they super different? Was your like aesthetic super different back then? I mean, like when I did oil painting for like a year, because again, like I didn't get accepted to graphic design, so I could not study it during that year. And so I just did something, you know, that I thought would help me. So I did a lot of oil painting. I did figure painting, so I got to see tons of naked bodies. That was super fun.
Which I always loved. I always loved that.
It's so fun. So like, and then it was really like body positive too, because you're like, the best bodies are the ones that aren't like standard beautiful to paint.
Yeah,
so it was
I totally agree.
Yeah, it was like so illuminating on that perspective. But I loved figure painting, and then oil over acrylic every day. But a lot of them got either damaged or lost between the moves. So.
Wow, that's amazing. That explains a lot to me, honestly. Such a cool background. So, question, do you have a dream project, dream collab in the future?
I mean, K-pop could hire me instead of steal for me. That would be dope.
I'm going to say K-pop. I'm going to push for K-pop.
And then other than that, I'd really love to do environment concept art for a big budget or well-budgeted film and or AAA game.
Cool. That would be, I mean, to see that, in real life, or to see that as a huge backdrop would be amazing. Yeah,
I would really enjoy doing environment concept art. So hence why I keep trying.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, we're going to wrap this up here. If anyone else has any last minute questions, Blake, is there anything you want to say to all the fans, everyone that admires your work, anyone that's pushing to do what you're doing, any advice you want to share?
Yeah,
positive words.
Yeah, positive words. I mean, like, it's super easy to, I've been doing this 5 years now. I had no social following in the beginning. I'm still pretty modest compared to a lot of my peers who are, like, offensively internet famous. But, like, no shade. But, yeah, you know, if you really love it and you do put in the time and you try to be introspective and not just put out fast work, but really, like, think about your process and think about each piece you're making. Every single piece is going to be better than the last or an improvement on it. Don't ever feel discouraged in the like self-comparison game or something like that. And then in less inspiring words, 27/7 Cyberpunk is glitchy. It's true. It is very glitchy.
Word to the wise.
Yeah, word to the wise. The reviews are true. And yeah, and Lord of the Rings 4K is worth buying. That's my deep ending, I guess.
Couple plugs, couple positive,
nothing that benefits me. Oh yeah, if I am plugging Nifty Gateway tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. I do have a drop. There's there's 2 packs. One of them has a good chance, if you want a piece, to actually have a chance to get it. None of them are open edition, so forewarned. But
so exciting. Well, we'll be there. Everyone, check out Nifty Gateway, check out Super Rare, check out Blake's digital pieces that are available in the crypto world, and stay tuned, I guess, for more exciting projects and personal work and all kinds of things dreamy and surreal. We are going to be keeping this interview up on our page, so we'll be saving the live to share it, to rewatch it, to, you know, get those tidbits that you might have missed. And thank you, Blake, so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for your questions and positivity, and I hope this added to everyone's week. And honestly, let's just finish this year up as best we can. And,
I swear to God, if 2021 feels threatened and wants to be more dramatic than 2020, I'm ejecting myself. Like,
I'm canceling. I'm unsubscribing. I'm unsubscribing.
Yeah, like I will unsubscribe, cancel, uninstall, you name it.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Blake.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was amazing. And yeah, bigger, better, more.